Hello, my name is Veronica and welcome to the Learning Lab. In this episode, I want to share with you these cute Halloween treat bags that I made for my kiddos. So please come on in and we'll get started. Now, it's a stamped image that you see, and this one happens to be one of a cat. You can see where it comes together and you're able to thread a ribbon through, and that cat is on both sides. And just think, this was all from the ingenuity of the folks over at Inkadinkado. I love this company. The creativity behind everything they do, you know that it's made for crafters. The only downside is these stamps weren't of the best quality. This cat was difficult to remove from the backing sheet, and yes, he has been removed once. When I stamped, the image was not clear, so I did go and get my Tim Holtz sanding block, and I went over that a number of times just to try to get the rubber ready to absorb some ink. Now, I stamped this on die cuts with review paper on the rough side, so it wasn't as smooth as it could have been. Now, the owls, on the other hand, came right off. I used my Martha Stewart block to use for stamping, and I put it on the side that did not have the feet on it because it was able to fit on there perfectly. And I also gave that a light sanding as well. The cardstock I use is Die Cuts with a View, Ghosts and Goblins, and I'll just flip through so you can see some of the luscious papers that are in there. And normally when I am taking just a little bit from a piece of paper, I will leave it attached in the pad just so I don't have to store loose pieces, but I went ahead and detached this because I knew I wanted to use it. And I'm going to stamp this one on the smooth side of the paper. Over on the other side, you can see where I stamped it once. I did not get a good impression. I found that I needed to use a pigment ink. Here I'm using some of the Anna Griffin, and then I went back over that with the Memento ink because I wanted a really, really black owl on this paper. You got to give it a lot to make it go down. I did have the stamping pad from Inkadinkado underneath, and it came out fairly well. If you look at the owl and the cat on the packaging, the ink they use is incredible. So either it's something I'm doing or I need to use a different ink, and I might just need to use a different ink. Cutting these out isn't very difficult because most of the edges are smooth and not a lot of difficult trimming. But if you are cutting, remember to use that opposite hand to steer the paper in the direction that you want it to go. Now on this one that I previously stamped, I put some pumpkins on the side. And these do come with the owl stamp. So I'm going to put some on the purple one. I'm going to use an orange piece that I stamped on and I didn't get a good image. These stamped out easily and very well, not a problem at all. Now I'm going to stamp Hoot or Boo, one of those, on the backs of the orange paper that I didn't use. There were at least 2 of those circular images that came with each one. Now I need to go back and score along the lines that have the dash marks, and I'm using my Martha Stewart small scoreboard for that. You can also use a ruler, line it up, and an empty ballpoint pen or the back of the ballpoint pen cap to make that work. Then you cut along the solid lines because those are going to be your fold pieces. When I was ready to punch them, I stacked them all up on top of one another because I did about 30 of them, and I used my Crop-A-Dile to punch the hole through the tips. And it's here that I realized I neglected to score on the line underneath both of the owls. Now we're ready to fold it. And you can use a bone folder if you want. I didn't use it on my other ones. It wasn't that serious. When you're ready to put it together, those 2 pieces fold in, the short ends fold up, and then the long sides cover it all. And I attempted to show you that once I had it all glued together, but the camera either cut itself off or I shut it down and forgot to turn it back on. Nevertheless, I used a scallop punch to punch out the green pieces, and I'm using the 2-inch punch. And for the hoot, I used a 1.5-inch circle punch. And those 2 I just put together, again, using some liquid adhesive, one of my favorites these days. Then once I had all of those done, I again used my Crop-A-Dile to punch through numerous ones at one time. Now that my glue has had a chance to set, I took about oh no, I'm sorry. I'm now putting my candy in, a Mary Jane, a Tootsie Roll, and a Super bubble gum fits right in there. And I'm stringing through about an 8 to 10 inch piece of orange ribbon that I got at a really good price when Joann's or Michael's or someone had them 40% off. And then with my teacher discount, I got a really good deal. So I just strung the tag on and tied a bow. And there you have it, a quick and easy little treat for my kiddos. Didn't take me any time at all to get all of those stamped out. And I watched a good movie on Turner Classic Movies while I was doing the cutting. And just to think, I have Inkadinkado to thank for it. Love, love, love that company. So thank you for joining me in the lab today. Please be sure to check out my blog at inkallusions.blogspot.com. Happy Halloween!